Absence can be more intense than presence. Have you ever stopped to think that there are women whose strength lies in the way they distance themselves? They do not insist. They do not become burdensome. And this creates a space that often generates longing. When a woman decides to withdraw, this choice is not just a matter of physical distance, but a declaration that she values herself. When you have someone like this around, the feeling is of constant comfort, but at the same time, underlying tension. It's as if you know that if you don't appreciate her presence, the loss will be profound. This woman doesn't need to do much to be felt. Her absence is an echo that resonates in every corner. It is in this void that it becomes evident how much she really mattered. You might remember moments when words were spoken, but the essence of the relationship was in the silent connection. When this woman distances herself, longing sets in, bringing to the surface the memories and feelings that were often taken for granted. Her silence is not just the absence of words, but an invitation to reflect on what has been lost. This dynamic of absence and presence teaches us that there is strength in the choice to withdraw. She may not fight to stay, but the impact of her departure can be devastating. The truth is that many times, absence makes you reevaluate the importance of that woman in your life. The pain of longing can be a powerful catalyst for change. When the woman who doesn't insist withdraws, she is not just distancing herself, she is protecting herself. What might seem like indifference is actually a form of self-care. It is a reminder that she deserves to be valued and that those around her should be attentive, or they might lose this presence that brings so much meaning. The longing that remains is a declaration of what should have been valued. It does not beg for attention, but its absence is a silent scream. You realize that there is no space for waste in relationships that really matter. The woman who does not insist is the one who leaves an indelible mark, for her departure reveals what was neglected. This is your call to action. Value the people who mean something in your life before it is too late. Longing can be a powerful reminder, but it should not be the only acknowledgement of the value that someone brings. Do not wait to feel the absence of someone who is gone to start valuing the connections you have. You deserve relationships that celebrate presence, not just absence. When you reflect on the strength of absence, it is essential to consider how this applies to your own relationships. Often, you may find yourself in situations where you value someone's presence only when that presence begins to dissipate. The reality is that the emotional dynamics in a relationship can be complex, and the way you deal with someone's absence can reveal a lot about your feelings and priorities. Absence is not just a physical state, it is an emotional state that can shape how you perceive relationships. When someone withdraws, it provokes a sense of loss that can be challenging to manage. It's not uncommon for you to start questioning your own actions and decisions. What could have been done to avoid this separation? This self-analysis can be a crucial step for personal growth. It is in this space created by absence that you can begin to understand what truly matters. You might realize that the relationship had aspects that went unnoticed while things were working smoothly. Routine might have hidden the importance of small gestures and shared moments. Now, with the absence of the woman who withdrew, these moments gain new significance. They become lessons you can carry into future relationships, reminding you of the importance of valuing the present. Additionally, the absence can be an indication that something wasn't right. When a woman decides to distance herself, it often reflects her unmet needs. You may have failed to notice signs that she was dissatisfied or that her expectations were not being met. This serves as a warning. Pay attention to the needs of the people around you. Communication is essential, and prolonged silences can indicate issues that need to be addressed. The impact of an absence is not limited to feelings of longing. It can also create a space for personal reflection and growth. You may begin to consider what you truly want in your relationships. This introspection is fundamental for building healthier connections in the future. If you don't learn from the experience of absence, you risk repeating the same patterns and losing valuable people again. Absence can be an invitation to re-evaluate your own behaviors. You might question whether you are giving due value to the relationships you have. Are you investing time and effort in the people who really matter? Or have you been so focused on other areas of your life that you've forgotten to nurture these connections? Often, what seems like an absence is actually a call to action for you to become more present and attentive. It's important to remember that the absence of someone should not only be seen from the perspective of loss. This situation can also be an opportunity to understand what you can do to improve your social and emotional life. You can commit to being more active in the relationships you consider significant. This might mean making a conscious effort to connect with friends, family, or partners, showing that you care and are willing to invest time and energy in these interactions. When you realize that someone's absence has had a profound impact on your life, it can be a turning point. You may decide that you no longer want to wait until someone withdraws to realize their value. This decision is an important step toward healthier and more meaningful relationships. From that moment on, you can become more intentional in your interactions, aiming to build an environment where people feel valued and respected. Missing someone can be a powerful emotion, but it shouldn't be the only force that motivates you to value the people in your life. You can start expressing your gratitude and appreciation for people while they are still present. Simple gestures, like a kind message, an invitation for coffee, or a sincere conversation, can make all the difference. These actions not only strengthen bonds, but also help create an environment where presence becomes a reason for celebration, not just a nostalgic memory. When you begin to show that you value the people around you, relationships become more robust. The woman who withdraws may realize that her needs are being met and that her value is recognized. This change in dynamics can bring a new level of connection and commitment, transforming the relationship into something even more meaningful. Finally, it's crucial to understand that absence should not be seen as a failure or an end. Instead, it can be a catalyst for transformation. Every time someone distances themselves, you have the opportunity to learn about yourself and what you truly desire in relationships. Valuing people's presence while they are close not only prevents the pain of longing, but also enriches your life in ways you may never have imagined. From this moment on, make mutual appreciation a priority in your life. When you start to notice the importance of presence before it becomes an absence, you're taking a crucial step towards strengthening your relationships. It is vital to understand that every interaction carries weight and that small daily actions can have a lasting impact. A simple thank you or a gesture of kindness can reinforce bonds and ensure that the people around you feel valued. It's easy to get lost in routine and forget to nurture connections. Often, you may be so involved in your own concerns that you forget to look at others' needs. Be attentive to the signs. If someone close to you seems distant or less present, it may be an indication that something is not going well. Communication is fundamental. Ask, listen, and be willing to understand what the other person is feeling. When you dedicate yourself to cultivating your relationships, you create an environment where absences are less likely. This doesn't mean you should become dependent on the people around you, but rather you should value meaningful interactions. You don't have to wait for the moment of loss to act. Make attention and care a regular part of your life. Additionally, it is essential to reflect on what you expect from your relationships. What are your own needs? Are you being clear about them with the people around you? Often, lack of communication results in misunderstandings that can lead to distance. Being honest about what you want and need is a sign of respect not only for yourself, but also for others. This creates a space where everyone feels safe to express their emotions and expectations. The absence of someone can serve as an alert about your own vulnerability. When you feel that someone has distanced themselves, it can be tempting to shut down or become defensive. However, this is the perfect moment to open up and reflect. Ask yourself why this absence hurts. What did this person mean to you? What shared moments do you value? This reflection can lead to a deeper understanding of what truly makes you feel connected. The pain of absence is not just a loss, it is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. When you deal with longing, you may start to question your own attitudes and what could have been different. This should not be a process of blame, but rather a chance to learn and apply this knowledge in future interactions. Each time you go through this experience, you become more aware and prepared to value what really matters. Remember that absence can also be a form of self-care. When someone steps away, it might be a conscious decision to protect themselves. It's important to recognize that everyone has their own limits and that in some cases, withdrawal is a healthy way to handle difficult situations. By understanding this, you can develop empathy and a broader perspective on relationships. Cultivating a space of friendship and care is fundamental. This means being available but also knowing when to give space. The dynamic between presence and absence must be balanced. You might ask yourself, am I being present in a healthy way, or am I pushing too hard? This self-reflection can help ensure that you do not become a burden to the people you love. Sometimes, constant presence can create a sense of suffocation. It is necessary to find a middle ground where everyone feels comfortable and valued. Respect for another person's space is just as important as the connection. This does not diminish the value of the relationship. On the contrary, it strengthens it by allowing each person to have their individual time and space. When you dedicate yourself to understanding the dynamics of presence and absence, you become more capable of making adjustments in your relationships. You may begin to notice patterns, both in yourself and in others. This can lead to meaningful conversations that can clarify misunderstandings and strengthen bonds. No one should wait until absence becomes a settled fact to realize the value of a relationship. Longing can be a signal that you need to take action. If you miss someone, do not hesitate to get in touch. A simple gesture can reopen channels of communication and bring forth feelings that were dormant. This can be an invitation to rebuild something that seemed lost. Do not be afraid to expose yourself and show that you care. Furthermore, consider the importance of forgiveness in relationships. What may have caused someone's absence could be a mistake or a misunderstanding. Learning to forgive, both yourself and others, can open doors that were closed. This does not mean you should accept harmful behaviors, but rather that you should be willing to let go of the past and focus on the present and future. When you adopt a proactive stance in your relationships, you contribute to a healthier and more loving environment. You can commit to being more conscious and attentive, not only in moments of crisis, but in every interaction. This creates a solid foundation that can withstand life's storms. Finally, absence should be a lesson, not a burden. Every time you find yourself feeling longing, remember that it is an opportunity to do better. Appreciate the people around you while they are present and show them how much they mean to you. By doing this, you not only avoid the pain of absence, but also build a legacy of love and connection that will endure. You may be surprised to realize that the most meaningful relationships are those that require constant attention. It's easy to get carried away by routine and comfort, but this can lead to neglect that results in estrangements. The absence of a loved one should not be seen merely as a loss, but as a call to reassess your priorities. When you realize that someone's presence is essential, it's important to act. Maintain open and honest communication. Ask yourself if you are doing enough to make the other person feel valued. What can you do to show that you care? Small gestures like a simple, "How are you?" or a message of support can make a big difference. These interactions help solidify bonds and prevent feelings of disinterest. Furthermore, talk about your own needs. Often, people distance themselves simply because they don't feel heard. When you share what you're feeling, you create an environment where the other person also feels safe to express themselves. This not only strengthens the relationship, but also promotes mutual understanding that can prevent future misunderstandings. Absence can be a signal that you need to pay more attention to others' emotional needs. When someone distances themselves, it could be a reflection that their expectations were not met. Ask yourself if you are really listening to what the other person needs, or if you are focused on your own issues. This kind of introspection is crucial for any healthy relationship. Another important aspect is the ability to forgive. Recognizing that everyone makes mistakes is fundamental to building lasting relationships. A lack of forgiveness can create barriers that lead to estrangement. Working on yourself to leave behind resentments is a necessary step to keep connections alive. Also remember that relationships should be a two-way street. This means you should be willing to give as much as you receive. If you notice that you're always putting in more effort than the other person, this might be an opportunity to discuss the dynamics of the relationship. Do not be afraid to address these issues. Communication is the key to resolving conflicts and strengthening bonds. Finally, valuing people's presence while they are around is not only a strategy to avoid the pain of absence, but a way to cultivate an environment of love and respect. When you dedicate yourself to nurturing these relationships, you create a space where absences become less frequent and the feeling of connection strengthens. Daily interactions are opportunities to show appreciation and affection, and this should be a priority in your life. Before you go, do two things now. Take a deep breath and hold on to what touched your heart today. And if it makes sense, share this story with someone who also needs to hear it.